Hi. Hi, hi, hi. Happy Monday night. I'm so glad to be here again. Fooled everybody and went live Friday with my special announcement. Somebody's on. Hi, Andrea. Oh, thanks for hopping on. I know you're busy. Hey, Kelly. I was just saying I fooled everybody on Friday by going live with my little talk about the retreat. It felt kind of weird, and I think it actually kind of threw my days off, but that's okay. That's all right. It was fun to do that because, of course, I'm excited about the retreat, and I hear my dog is dying to get in here. He thinks I'm talking to my granddaughter, and he loves to talk to her. We do FaceTime with her a lot of times, and I think he's afraid that I'm talking to her, and he's not getting this to talk to her. So hopefully he'll go away. If not, we'll just have to deal with it. Oh, anyway, it was a weird day here. We had a beautiful weekend and then crazy, kind of cold and overcast all day. But I guess appropriate Monday weather. It's supposed to be hot and sunny the rest of the week, so I think that'll be okay. As long as it doesn't stick around too long. Hey, Amber. Hey, Megan. Thanks for hopping on. So, my topic tonight, I was telling Jim before I went on that the topic really is as much as a reminder, kind of like and a refresher for me as it is for anybody who might tune in. And so, what I usually find is that if it's something I need to address with myself, there are usually friends out there who are addressing the same thing or who decide that they need to. So, um, there's this old saying and I don't know who said it. I looked it up and I can't remember, but it's don't get mad, get even. It was like Frank Sinatra or somebody offbeat like that. Hey, Kim. Um, but anyway, so that's the old saying: don't get mad, don't don't get mad, get even. And that's kind of in a way, I think that's human nature. That's our default. Is It's like, okay, I'm going to show you. When we go in for the sneak attack, we plot our revenge, and wait for the opportunity. And I wanted to just talk about that a little bit, about how self-destructive that is, and about what a waste of time and energy that is. I think we've all been dumped or talked about behind our back, stabbed in the back, betrayed, disappointed, had people not believe in us. And all of that is really tough to deal with. And at some point, we feel sorry. We kind of grovel a little bit, which is fine as long as we don't do it too long. And then we just get to the point where, the heck with this, I'm going to just move on. I'm going to show them that, they should have believed in me. Oh, yeah, the karma thing. They should have believed in me. They're going to be sorry. They didn't want to be friends with me. That whole thing. And that's good because that initially gets us out of our funk. That helps us kind of reboot. Hey, Danny, helps us get a jump start on the next leg, on moving on. But there, it can really, we can really get hung up on focusing on that. And I even to the point where this has been on my heart for a while, because I've seen a few posts of some of my friends, some people I don't know well, so I don't know what they're going through. And I would never be judgmental of someone, especially if I didn't know what they were going through. But I see some posts that come across to me anyway as almost like defiant and like, I'm going to show you, and, almost a little bit over the edge of, you know, like reclaiming our power, reclaiming our strength, reclaiming ourselves. It takes a little step farther than that. And again, I don't know what people have been through. There are some people who have been through horrific things, really, really tough things, really hard things. And I get that. But I want to pour into you that what we need to do is stop making whatever that thing, that episode, that event, that person was that brought us to this point, stop making them the focus of our lives. We've said we're going to leave them behind, and so we need to do that. And that is so hard. We need to forgive them. We need to let go of whatever negative feelings we had about the event or the occurrence. And we need to focus on the blessing that is waiting to come our way. We block the blessing if we don't focus on that. If we continue to focus on the negative, I'm a big law of attraction person. If we continue to focus on the negative, that's the energy that we continue to draw into our lives. And even though we may progress, we may achieve some level of success, as long as we allow that to be in our lives, we're blocking everything that we could be, everything that we could have, everything that we could do. So better to focus on that and to encourage others. It's one thing to say, to share that a story of overcoming a situation. By all means, that encourages other people who are in that situation so that they know that there's hope. And I'm a big believer in that. We have to encourage and uplift others. And that's why we share our stories, right? Because we want someone else who may be in the same situation to know that there is something better. There is something that comes next. So that's so important. But I think we can sometimes take it too far and live in that too long until it starts to become the rhythm of our lives and the tone of our voice. And it stops serving us. That energy and that drive and that determination stops serving us. Hey, Kelly. So, we have to believe too that like every experience has brought us to the place that we're at, right? And almost all the huge overcomers, the people I know who have overcome huge life challenges in their lives, of just across the spectrum, have all said, none of them have said, yes, it was awful. I wish it hadn't happened, but now I see that situation, that event, that occurrence, that bad relationship, that whatever, led me to the point I'm at right now, and I'm in a really good place. And that's where we begin to really start exploding. I had felt like I had really moved on from a couple of things that really kind of rocked my world. And not just the death of my mom, but I mean relationships with other people and some things that happened in those. And, I wrote my book and I thought I've done all this healing and I'm moving on and this is so good. And, I'm really working on myself. But I realized that I was not quite finished. And it wasn't until I moved from just moving on and saying, okay, I'm done with that, to actually just physically and literally saying, I release you to the people involved. I release the situation. I release the events. And they no longer are a part of my life. They no longer impact my life. And it wasn't until I released that and allowed the focus to be on this place that I am right now, that the blessings are like pouring into my life in ways I never could have imagined. And I didn't even really put all this together until over this weekend. God just revealed to me that, I keep saying, wow, why is all this happening? All these divine connections, all this, so many stars are aligning and dots connecting and things coming together, not just for me, but for the people in my circle. And I truly believe that it's because I had to just release that part of my life that I was hanging on to so tightly, that I was still holding on to that kernel of resentment and anger. And what happens is we end up being a prisoner. The people who harmed us or the things that happened, life goes on. We're the ones that are left in the wake, right? So it's our responsibility to figure out a way along that walk to just let it go. Release it into the universe. Let the universe deal with it. Let God deal with whatever he needs to deal with, because it's his plan anyway, right? So we need to let him, give him back the power in our lives. Give him back the decisions in our lives about that stuff. Let him deal with that. What we need to now focus on is the blessings. We need to open ourselves up to allow, like where that space was, we now have this empty space that he is just dying to fill. He's just dying to fill it for us. And so we need to let him do that, right? We just need to let him do that. And I know it's hard. I really do. Believe me. And a lot of times, like I said, we think that we're there. So, yes, by all means, give encouragement, share our stories of overcoming, of, abuse, neglect, not believing in us, being, hateful to us, harming us in every kind of imaginable way, or health situations, or whatever it is. Yes, we're past that. We need to share that, and we need to offer hope and encouragement to others. But then we need to move to the next level. That's right. We need God to fill us up, and we need to focus on that and let the rest go. Let it go. Don't be defiant. Don't be telling, an ex-friend, an ex whatever. One woman, I was reading up on some ways to cope with this kind of thing, and she apparently had a very contentious divorce. And she said she renamed her ex-husband the teacher. And it completely changed how she viewed that relationship, because she looked at that as those were lessons learned. And those were mistakes that she would not make again. And I thought that just perfectly described what I've been kind of trying to ramble on about here the last couple minutes. So he was the teacher because he taught her what she needed to be in the place that she was in at that moment and move on. And that took away the power. That took away the anger by reframing it that way. So forgiveness is really the key. And there's another reason besides all that. It's not good for our health to stay angry. Our mental health suffers and holds us back from all the blessings, but our physical health suffers too. There are, studies that have been done that angry people have a higher, are more likely to have heart disease and high blood pressure and all kinds of other health problems, because the anger causes chemical changes in our body that isn't healthy, that is beyond the fight or flight instinct. So yes, stress does kill. It definitely does. So does unforgiveness. So does unforgiveness. And the forgiveness is not for the other person. It's for us, right? It's for us. So that we don't, so that we aren't held back from the future that's coming. So, okay, we've done the forgiveness. We've decided that we're going to focus on what we will now be receiving, so that we can be the best version of ourselves, so that we can then pour into other people, right? So, of course, there's always a cautionary tale. One of the things we need to remember is not to focus on material things, but rather to focus on the experience. So if I if I am manifesting a lifestyle that will allow me to donate a lot of money to charities or to help people in a certain way, to volunteer my time, or go back to school to get more training so that I can, be a doctor or, whatever. Just generally have more knowledge. What we don't want to focus on is, oh, when I have all that money, I can get a bigger house and I can, have a couple extra cars. That will not allow us to fully experience what the blessing will be. We focus on the experience. We focus on how it will feel to have that much ability to share with the world, that much ability to minister to others, that much ability to put out into the universe that positive energy. And then the blessing will come. So if we focus on the experience versus the material things, it's going to come a lot faster. It just really is. And it's going to allow us, to have a mindset of joy. If we focus on the joy that the experience will bring us, that's when we really start to see the changes in our lives. And it's so fantastic. And just wishing for things, what's the old saying? If wishes were horses, beggars would ride. Yes, we do have to wish. We have to journal about, this is what I want. We have to be very specific about what we want to manifest in our lives. But then we can't just sit around and wait for them, right? We have to start working for them. We have to make a plan on how to make it happen. The universe is going to deliver, but we have to help it. It's just like God's going to answer our prayers, but he expects us to do our part. If we ask him for, for a better job, we have to go looking for a better job. If we ask him, for whatever, we ask him for better health, we have to be more proactive in our health, right? That's how it works. We don't just wish for it and then, expect him to be like Santa Claus and just deliver. That also blocks the power that those blessings will have in our lives. Hi, Karen. I'm glad you could hop on. So the other thing, another thing that can block us is from obsessing what we don't have. Saying, oh, I really would like to, have this in my life. We want to manifest whatever the blessing is that we want. But if that then causes us to focus on what we don't have, like I really want a fancy new house, and then we start looking around our house and saying, this old dump, that's going to block the blessing too, because it's going to counter the positive experience. It's going to counter the positive thoughts. The old thoughts become things philosophy. So we don't want to block our blessings by being negative, right? We have to be open for those blessings, be positive, live in joy, live in gratitude. All of those things allow us to have those things manifest in our lives more quickly and more abundantly. And then, like I was saying, the negative thoughts. We really want to guard our thoughts. We need to be diligent about it. And especially when challenges come our way, when hardships come, when things happen that we don't want to happen, that we didn't expect to happen, that could set us back. We need to really be focused and deliberate and intentional about not letting that happen. We need to expect it. We need to remember that we need to live in gratitude and in joy and in the expectation of the abundance that is ours, just for the asking, if we do the things that we need to do to make them manifest in our lives, right? So don't get mad. Don't get even. Get better. There's a saying. It's all over the place. Don't get mad. Don't get even. Do better. Much better. Rise above. Become so engulfed in your own success that you forget it ever happened. Some other sayings about that is, do so well that the ones who thought you were crazy ask you how you did it, right? That's the difference in being angry, and in having righteous anger, right? That's it. Righteous anger. That's a good thing because that's going to prompt us to take action. So that's my little words of wisdom. Like I said, I just realized this past weekend why it kept bothering me, and I can't even explain. That's right. The best revenge is success, but it has to be about us and not about the others. It just every once in a while I would go, oh, that sounded whatever, and but I couldn't really put my finger on um, why it bothered me a little bit. Um, and I think that's why once I had some time to think about it and think about my own situation, and what was going on in my own life, and realizing that I um, really intentionally and very powerfully released some really big stumbling blocks in my life that the blessings have just been pouring in. I'm not going to say, we became millionaires overnight, and that's not what it's about. It's that things I never would have imagined would have manifested in my life are starting to manifest. And it's not me, it's that I have allowed the space for God to do his work. And it's such a wonderful thing that's why I wanted to hop on here tonight and share that with you. To don't use one more minute of your time or one more ounce of your energy giving them back the power, giving the situation or the people back the power. Claim it for yourself and give it to God, and he's going to empower you to move on. So that's my words of wisdom for this week. Thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate it. If you have some friends that you think might benefit from this little conversation, let them know where they can find a few words of advice. And as always, I appreciate you tuning in. I hope you have a great rest of the night and a great week. And I'll talk to you definitely next Monday, but who knows? Maybe a little bit before.